The confirmed number of new coronavirus cases reported in Los Angeles County in the last 24 hours is 941, with 15 additional deaths. Here in Torrance, 11 additional cases were reported with no new deaths. Welcome to COVID-19 Today. I'm Jen Chun, filling in for Christine Lee. It's Wednesday, December 8th. For the first time in 2 months, the U.S. is averaging more than 100,000 new COVID-19 cases each day. The rise comes after millions of Americans traveled near and far, gathering with family and friends for Thanksgiving. The last time the country topped 100,000 cases a day was back in early October. COVID-19 deaths are also on the rise again. The 7-day average as of this past Saturday was 1,651, a number not seen in more than a month. The vast majority of new cases continue to come from the Delta variant, but the Omicron strain has now been detected across the U.S., including right here in California. This variant is causing alarm as early indications show it could be more contagious than the original strain of the coronavirus. And the significant number of mutations it carries also pose a potential risk of reducing some effectiveness provided by current vaccines. Public health officials urge Americans to continue taking precautions such as wearing a mask properly, staying home when sick, and washing hands often. Well, researchers believe the Pfizer vaccine may not be as effective on the Omicron variant. A group of scientists working in South Africa say the new strain partly escapes the protection offered by that particular COVID-19 vaccine. Now, people who had been previously infected, then vaccinated, are likely to be better protected. The research taking place at the Africa Health Research Institute in Durban, South Africa, is the first of its kind that directly looks into how the Omicron virus might behave in those who are vaccinated. According to tests performed in lab dishes using samples from 12 individuals fully vaccinated with Pfizer, researchers noticed that the Omicron variant could evade immune protection, though not completely. The team used human lung cells for the test and found that blood from the 6 volunteers who recovered from COVID-19, then vaccinated, were better able to neutralize the virus. They reported their findings to an online preprint site and is awaiting peer review. Meanwhile, Pfizer and its partner BioNTech say that while their 2 vaccine doses may not be protective enough to prevent infection, lab tests showed a booster increased antibody levels 25 times against the Omicron variant. Pfizer officials say a new vaccine targeting Omicron could become available as early as next March if needed. Omicron is, quote, almost certainly not more severe than the Delta variant. Well, that's the assessment from Chief White House Medical Advisor Dr. Anthony Fauci. He adds that Omicron could even result in milder disease compared to other variants, though it will likely take weeks to determine if that is the case. Dr. Fauci says the ratio between the number of infections and hospitalizations appears to be less than compared with the Delta variant. South Africa's daily COVID-19 cases have risen almost 40-fold over the last month, from around 270 to 10,600 infections per day. Hospital admissions, however, have less than doubled during that same time. Fauci warned Americans that data around Omicron is still scarce, as scientists are waiting on lab studies to determine how well coronavirus antibodies, either from natural infection or vaccines, hold up against the variant. They're also watching how the new strain affects higher risk populations, such as those who are older or immunocompromised. So far, people infected with Omicron in South Africa have been young and less likely to become hospitalized. Dr. Fauci says we'll be able to get a better sense of the level of Omicron severity as more infections take place throughout the world. The Transportation Security Administration announced this week that it's expecting near pre-pandemic travel volumes over the holidays. The agency screened close to 21 million travelers during the 10-day Thanksgiving travel period and anticipates a continued increase of traffic this month. TSA recommends more people sign up for its PreCheck program. Last month, 94% of those who registered waited less than 5 minutes. Now, those who apply today will likely have their application accepted within 5 days, just in time for the next holiday. TSA also has a list of tips for people to remember before they get ready for their next flight. Be flexible and know that airports have rush hours too, typically between 5 to 7 a.m. and 4 to 6 p.m. Consider booking your flight outside those hours if possible. Now, pack smart by checking ahead to see what you can take with you. And arrive early, at least 2 hours before domestic and 3 hours before international flights. And be patient and considerate of others as TSA officials work as quickly as they can, and many travelers may be flying for the first time since the pandemic began. TSA officials say they have dramatically modified airport security checkpoint operations as a result of COVID-19 to improve social distancing and reduce physical contact. Well, Southern California is gearing up for more wet weather as light rainfall is expected tonight. The National Weather Service says another weak storm system is expected to pass through later today into tomorrow. Cooler weather is also anticipated through the weekend and even snow in some high elevation areas. The agency expects a more significant storm to arrive on Monday and Tuesday. Well, the drive from Las Vegas to Los Angeles is expected to become a lot smoother. A new plan to ease traffic congestion was recently unveiled during a joint news conference with California Governor Gavin Newsom and Nevada Governor Steve Sisolak. The shoulder portion of a 5-mile stretch of the southbound 15 freeway between the Nevada state line and the California Food and Agriculture checkpoint will be converted to be used as an extra lane during peak hours. Governor Sisolak says more than 11 million Las Vegas visitors drive in and out on the I-15 every year. And this is a major step forward as they continue to collaborate and work toward more permanent solutions. Traffic is currently reduced from 3 to 2 lanes in that area. Governor Newsom says the average travel times on Sundays and Mondays along that southbound direction can range from 3 to 5 hours between the Nevada state line and Barstow. The project is estimated to cost $12 million and expected to be completed by the end of summer 2022. Well, Instagram is taking new measures to help users take a break from its app. The social media giant posted this message saying they want Instagram to be positive and intentional. Users can now add reminders to take a break while scrolling on the app. The new features and tools are aimed at teen mental health and online safety, especially among younger users. Early test results show that once teens set the reminders, more than 90% of them keep the feature on. The company also plans to take a stricter approach to what they recommend to teens on the app. Will also stop people from tagging or mentioning teens that don't follow them, and even nudge teens towards different topics if they're dwelling on one topic for a long time. Additionally, Instagram will launch tools for parents to help them get more involved in their teens' activities on the app, including the ability to see how much time their teens spend on Instagram and set time limits. And beginning in March, an educational hub for parents and guardians will become available, offering additional resources such as product tutorials and tips from experts. Well, Torrance City Council members met last night to conduct city business. Among the agenda items discussed included resolutions honoring a number of dedicated city employees upon their retirement, some saying goodbye after as many as 37 years of service. Council also approved the recommendation of naming the new Torrance Transit Park and Ride Regional Terminal as the Mary K. Giordano Regional Transit Center. And they conducted a third public hearing to discuss redistricting based on the 2020 census data for the general municipal election, which will be held on June 7th, 2022. Council members agreed to proceed with one of the redistricting maps offered during the presentation. Now, these are just highlights from last night's meeting. You can watch the full replay of the meeting on our website, YouTube, Facebook, and of course, right here on City Cable. Well, before we go, at the end of each program, we like to share feel-good stories from our community, pictures, images, and videos that remind us of how resilient our community is and how Torrance truly cares. A Torrance-based startup won the top prize at a virtual summit celebrating out-of-this-world innovations. Hyperspace Summit is a business accelerator that fosters relationships between government, startup, and university communities with a common goal of accelerating innovation for the space domain. Now, Varda Space Industries was one of the startups that pitched its ideas at the Hyperspace Challenge. The Torrance company's plan to create payload capsules that are designed to carry out cargo delivery from space won first place and $25,000. Varda was founded just about a year ago by a pair of individuals who worked at SpaceX and Founders Fund. Since then, they've raised more than $50 million and are working toward their first mission to build the first space factory, essentially the first industrial park on orbit as early as 2023. And it seems they are having a bright start to their journey. Congratulations on your big win. Now, if you have a great story, upcoming event, or photo you'd like to share, email us at covid19today@torranceca.gov. We'd love to hear from you. Well, that's our update for COVID-19 Today. We'll be back here tomorrow as Bella Shaw brings you the latest. Be safe, stay healthy, and thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
Here in the city of Torrance, we take pride in the outstanding quality of life available to our residents. Unlike many neighboring communities, we are a full-service city with our own police and fire departments, so emergency responders are close by and available to keep Torrance a safe place to live, work, and raise a family. However, the city is facing several challenges. While 911 calls for emergency medical assistance have increased and other city services remain in high demand, the cost of protecting and maintaining our city has outpaced our revenue. The COVID-19 pandemic and its impact on our local economy only exacerbated the situation. Although the city has significantly cut costs, without new revenue sources, the city cannot maintain existing levels of police and fire and other community services. With another source of locally controlled revenue, Torrance could avoid the most devastating cuts to services. To protect public safety and the quality of life in Torrance, the city is considering placing a local funding measure on the June 2022 ballot. If Torrance voters approve, the measure would increase the city's local sales tax by 3/4 of a penny. Torrance's current sales tax is 9.5%, lower than several neighboring cities. But did you know that Torrance only receives a small portion of those dollars? More than 80% of our sales tax gets taken by the state and county, and Torrance is one of the few cities that does not collect locally controlled sales tax funding. Adding a 3/4 cent increase would add 75 cents to a $100 purchase and would generate up to $27 million per year. Approximately 30% of the cost would be paid by non-Torrance residents who visit our city. Groceries, prescription medicine, and other essential items are exempt from sales tax. These are funds the state and county would not be able to touch. So, 100% would remain here in Torrance to maintain fire, paramedic, public safety officers, and 911 response, maintain crossing guards and school resource officers that keep schools safe, recruit and retain well-trained firefighters, paramedics, and public safety officers, repair streets and potholes, and prevent thefts and property crimes. Locally controlled funding would also stabilize the city budget and provide the emergency reserves needed to be prepared for disasters or emergencies. As we plan for the future, we want to hear from you. Join the conversation by visiting torranceca.gov/essential services.